Let's talk about John Templeton, a name that you know really resonates in the financial world, and for good reason. He's been called the greatest global stock picker of the century. And that's not just hype. The man was a billionaire who made his fortune by doing things differently, particularly when it came to global investing. He was way ahead of his time, pioneering globally diversified mutual funds back in the 1950s, when most investors were really focused solely on the U.S. market. So what can we learn from this unconventional investor and his remarkable life? Well, let's start at the beginning. John Marks Templeton was born in humble beginnings in Winchester, Tennessee, back in 1912. Small town, big dreams. That was John Templeton. He ended up at Yale, one of the most prestigious universities in the country, and he paid his way through with scholarships, side jobs, and even poker winnings. Talk about resourceful. He graduated near the top of his class in 1934, which tells you something about his intellect and drive. But Templeton's journey didn't stop there. He went on to become a Rhodes Scholar, studying law at Oxford. Now, it's interesting how this global experience would later shape his investment strategies. He saw the world differently than many of his American counterparts. And that perspective would prove to be incredibly valuable. Imagine the Great Depression, a time of economic turmoil, widespread fear, and uncertainty. But Templeton saw opportunity where others saw only disaster. In a move that some might call crazy, he bought 100 shares of every company on the New York Stock Exchange. That was selling for under $1. That was 104 companies in total, and 34 of them were actually in bankruptcy. It was a bold move that ultimately paid off. As the U.S. economy recovered during World War II, this was an early sign of Templeton's contrarian nature, his willingness to go against the crowd and bet on what others thought was lost. Fast forward to 1954. Templeton founded the Templeton Growth Fund. This was a game changer. Over the next 38 years, this fund averaged growth of over 15% annually. An incredible track record. A big part of the success can be attributed to Templeton's forward-thinking approach. He was one of the first to champion emerging markets, venturing into Japan in the mid-1960s. When it was still considered a risky bet, he saw the potential before others did, and that gave him a significant edge. Here's the thing about Templeton. He wasn't just a brilliant investor. He was a deep thinker. He didn't just follow the herd. He looked for value where others didn't see it. He was known for saying, "Buy when there's blood in the streets." This wasn't about being heartless. It was about recognizing that times of fear and panic often create the best buying opportunities. It takes courage to act when everyone else is running for the hills. But Templeton had that courage in spades. And his contrarian approach wasn't limited to his investing. It extended to his personal life as well. You might think a billionaire investor would be all about living the high life, right? But Templeton was different. He was known for his frugality. He lived modestly, despite his vast wealth. He didn't even fly first class. It's a testament to his character that he wasn't driven by material possessions, but by a deeper sense of purpose. Now, Templeton was a deeply religious man, a lifelong Presbyterian, but he was also open-minded and curious about other faiths. This spiritual side played a significant role in his life and would later shape his philanthropic endeavors. And speaking of philanthropy, Templeton was incredibly generous. He gave away over $1 billion to various causes during his lifetime. He believed that making money was one thing, but using it to make a positive impact on the world was something else entirely. He was a true believer in giving back. One of his most notable philanthropic achievements was the establishment of the Templeton Prize in 1972. This prestigious award, which comes with a significant monetary prize, is given to individuals who have made exceptional contributions to our understanding of spiritual realities. We're talking about people like Mother Teresa and the Dalai Lama, individuals who have dedicated their lives to exploring the deeper meaning of life. Templeton also founded the John Templeton Foundation, which continues to support research in what he called big questions about the universe, human nature, and spirituality. This foundation is a testament to his intellectual curiosity and his desire to delve into the mysteries that have captivated humankind for centuries. So here we have John Templeton, a man who defied conventions, achieved remarkable success in finance, and used his wealth to explore the biggest questions about life and existence. But there's so much more to his story, and we'll be diving deeper into those details in the next part of our exploration of the life and legacy of Sir John Templeton. So stay tuned. So we've been, unpacking the life of Sir John Templeton, investor, philanthropist, and deep thinker. Now let's really zoom in on his investment philosophy, because this is where I think his genius shines through. Back in 1999, Money magazine called Templeton arguably the greatest global stock picker of the century. But you look at his track record, the man had a knack for finding, those hidden gems in the market, the companies that everyone else overlooks. So what was his secret? Well, for one thing, Templeton believed in thinking globally. He was way ahead of the curve when it came to investing in foreign markets, especially those in Asia and Eastern Europe. Back then, most American investors were solely focused on the U.S. market. But Templeton saw the potential in these emerging economies. He recognized that globalization was going to be a major force in the years to come, and he positioned himself accordingly. But it wasn't just about geography. Templeton also had a remarkable ability to spot undervalued companies. He wasn't chasing the latest hot stocks or trying to time the market. He was a value investor at heart, meaning he looked for companies with solid fundamentals that were trading below their intrinsic worth. He called it bargain hunting, and he believed that patience was the key to success in the market. And here's where it gets really interesting. Templeton was a contrarian investor. He believed in going against the herd, in zigging when everyone else was zagging. He famously said, "Buy when there's blood in the streets," meaning that the best time to buy is when fear is high and prices are low. This takes a certain kind of courage, a willingness to bet against the prevailing sentiment. But Templeton had that courage, and it paid off handsomely. His flagship fund, the Templeton Growth Fund, outperformed a global stock index by an average of 3% annually throughout his entire career. To get this, after he moved to the Bahamas, that outperformance jumped to over 6% per year. That's the power of contrarian thinking, of having the conviction to stick to your principles, even when the market is telling you otherwise. But Templeton's investment philosophy wasn't just about making money. It was about finding value. It was about understanding the fundamentals of a business and having the patience to let those fundamentals play out over time. This wasn't speculation or day trading. It was about long-term investing, about identifying companies that were built to last and holding on to them for the long haul. Of course, this contrarian approach didn't always lead to smooth sailing. There were times, especially during bull markets, when his returns lagged behind the overall market. But his real strength was his ability to weather the storms, to navigate those market downturns with less volatility than his peers. His focus on value, on those underlying fundamentals, helped him to avoid the worst of the losses. When the market inevitably took a turn for the worse, Templeton believed in buying stocks that were substantially undervalued. He'd hold on to them, sometimes for as long as 4 years on average, until their price rose to what he considered fair market value. Then he'd sell. It's a simple but powerful concept. He didn't buy into the hype or get swept up in market frenzy. He stuck to his principles, focusing on those companies that he believed had a solid foundation and were poised for long-term growth. Now, Templeton wasn't just a savvy investor. He was also a forward thinker. In 2005, he wrote a memo that predicted financial chaos within 5 years. He saw the housing bubble forming and anticipated a collapse in the housing market. He also predicted that government bond yields would plummet almost to zero. This memo wasn't made public until 2010, but it shows just how prescient Templeton was. He had a remarkable ability to see the bigger picture, to anticipate trends that others were missing. And here's something that might surprise you. Templeton also predicted a major shift in education, specifically a decline in traditional schooling, due to the rise of internet-based learning. Remember, this was back in 2005, before online learning was as widespread as it is today. Templeton was clearly a man ahead of his time, both in his investment strategies and in his insights into the future. He was a true visionary, and his ideas continue to resonate with investors and thinkers today. His approach wasn't just about beating the market. It was about understanding the world around us, identifying those underlying trends that would shape the future. He believed in looking beyond the headlines, in seeking out those contrarian viewpoints that could provide a different perspective. Now, let's shift gears for a moment and talk about Templeton's personal life, because it's just as fascinating as his investment career. Here's a man who became a billionaire through his investment prowess. Yet he lived a remarkably frugal life. He didn't flaunt his wealth, didn't surround himself with luxury. He believed in making money, but not in spending it lavishly on himself. He never even flew first class. Can you imagine that? A billionaire who chose to travel like an average person. It speaks volumes about his character, his humility, and his down-to-earth nature. A friend of his once jokingly described him as Calvinist in his approach to wealth. He believed it was okay to make money, so long as you didn't enjoy it. Now, that might sound a bit extreme, but it highlights Templeton's belief in the importance of simplicity, in not being consumed by material possessions. He was a man of deep faith, a lifelong Presbyterian, but he was also open-minded and curious about other religions. This spiritual side of him played a significant role in his life. And in his philanthropy, Templeton married Judith Thooke in 1937, and they had 3 children, John, Anne, and Christopher. Sadly, Judith died in a motorbike accident in 1951. Templeton later remarried to Irene Reynolds Butler in 1958. She died in 1993. So we see that Templeton was a man of many facets. He was a brilliant investor, a generous philanthropist, a devout Christian, and a lifelong learner. He was a true original, and his story is a testament to the power of independent thinking, of having the courage to go against the grain, and to chart your own course. His legacy continues to inspire us today, not just in the world of finance, but in all aspects of life. He reminds us that it's okay to be different, to think differently, and to challenge conventional wisdom. John Templeton's incredible journey as an investor, his contrarian approach, his remarkably frugal lifestyle. But there's another dimension to this remarkable man that we haven't fully explored yet: his extraordinary generosity and his relentless pursuit of answers to life's biggest questions, particularly those concerning spirituality. Templeton was a true philanthropist. He firmly believed that wealth wasn't just about accumulation, but about making a meaningful difference in the world. He didn't seek out extravagance or material possessions. Instead, he channeled his resources towards causes that aligned with his values, especially those promoting spiritual understanding and scientific inquiry. One of his most significant philanthropic achievements was the establishment of the Templeton Prize back in 1972. This award, accompanied by a substantial monetary prize, is given annually to an individual who has made an exceptional contribution to affirming life's spiritual dimension, whether through insight, discovery, or practical works. Think of individuals like Mother Teresa, the Dalai Lama, and Archbishop Desmond Tutu, all recipients of the Templeton Prize. These are people who have dedicated their lives to exploring the deeper meaning of existence, and their work reflects the spirit of the prize. The Templeton Prize embodies Templeton's belief that science and religion are not opposing forces, but rather complementary paths in our quest to understand the universe and our place within it. He believed that by encouraging research and dialogue between these two disciplines, we could gain new insights into the nature of reality and the human condition. Beyond the Templeton Prize, he also established the John Templeton Foundation. This foundation continues to support research into what he called big questions, profound inquiries that have puzzled philosophers, scientists, and theologians for centuries. Questions about the origins of the universe, the nature of consciousness, the meaning of life, and the existence of a higher power. The John Templeton Foundation funds research projects and initiatives that explore these fundamental questions from various perspectives, encouraging collaboration across scientific disciplines and engaging with theological and philosophical traditions. It's a unique and visionary endeavor, reflecting Templeton's deep curiosity and his conviction that embracing both scientific inquiry and spiritual exploration can lead to a deeper understanding of ourselves and the universe. In addition to these major philanthropic efforts, Templeton was involved in a wide array of other charitable activities. He established the Templeton Library in Sewanee, Tennessee, housing a collection of literature focused on science and religion, furthering research that bridges these two fields. He also endowed Templeton College at the University of Oxford, which concentrated on management studies and fostered a spirit of inquiry and ethical leadership. Templeton College later merged with Green College to become Green Templeton College, a notable merger in Oxford's recent history. Templeton was a true pioneer in philanthropy, not just for the scale of his giving, but for his innovative approach to supporting research and dialogue on the profound questions that have captivated humanity for ages. He believed that investing in these areas could significantly advance our understanding of the universe and our place within it, ultimately contributing to a more enlightened and harmonious world. As we reflect on the life and legacy of Sir John Templeton, we see a man who achieved phenomenal success in finance, yet remained grounded in the importance of giving back and exploring the deeper meaning of life. He was a contrarian investor who saw opportunity where others saw risk, a frugal billionaire who lived modestly and dedicated his wealth to making a positive impact, and a man of faith who believed that science and religion could work together to unlock the secrets of the universe. John Templeton's story is an inspiration. It reminds us that we can achieve great things by thinking differently, forging our own paths, and using our resources to make a positive difference. It challenges us to think beyond material possessions, to explore the big questions that have always intrigued humanity, and to strive for a life of purpose and meaning. So as you go about your day, keep John Templeton's spirit of inquiry and generosity in mind. Ask those big questions, seek out new perspectives, and don't shy away from challenging conventional wisdom. Remember, sometimes the greatest investments aren't in the stock market, but in our personal growth and our efforts to make the world a better place. Well, that concludes our exploration of the fascinating life of John Templeton. I hope you enjoyed this journey into the story of this remarkable man. Hit that subscribe button to stay tuned for more inspiring profiles and thought-provoking discussions.